You will come back, my friends. Skirt.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to The Pitch, the show where it's unscripted, it's unedited, but I at least try to get a point across about what the fuck we're doing. So the Def Jam label has made a lot of video games, and I'm pretty sure a few people are like, you know about the Def Jam games? You know about Vendetta? You know about Five from New York? You know about Icon? Motherfucker, I know about all three of those fucking games. I just didn't do anything with the fucking karaoke game or the other shit, because that's not Def Jam. I don't know what the fuck that is. It's like that whole Just Dance craze, or fucking Rock Band, or Guitar Hero, or some shit like that. They ain't no fucking anything. But I also kept seeing this one video that popped up on my feed every fucking day from this guy doing this retrospective where he made a lot of good points. But I don't think people are really getting to the bigger things about if there are so many people in high demand for a Def Jam game, but with all the different licensings going into the big ether about why we can't have certain stuff, like the American McGee fan base over there waiting for the third Alice game. I'm with you, fam. I'm also of two minds about people really wanting a Def Jam game, much like Fight for New York and Vendetta, with certain parts from Icon. But no one's really putting their money where their mouth is about what to make as a good title from the roster that we have today that could go into other things here and there from past artists, from past parts of the label, to other people from Sony that have gone from past and present to make a cohesive story. And then I'm also sitting back and I'm like, if I could really talk about this using the knowledge I would have gotten if I went to college for game design like I was supposed to, y'all probably didn't know about that. I actually was going to be going to college for robotics and game design. Fun fact. So then it's all the whole thing of how would I structure a story like this for Def Jam to make something this coherent? Easy thing to do, but I'm not going to give you guys the number one idea I have. I'm going to give you the third idea in the top 10 I've always had for Def Jam. So here's this pitch. We're going to be having it where probably, if we're going to be doing it the best way, set it for 2025. Why 2025? I'm going to get to it right in a fucking second. You have it set where whatever protagonist that you're making, they've already experienced stuff from the past 3 generations of games. Vendetta, Fight for New York, and Icon all happen in sequential order of release to make a coherent story about what it is that you're building up on. Doesn't matter about past acclaims. You're going to have your overall building a legacy character from the 3 eras that will then come into play later on. Here's why I'm saying now why I said it in 2025. The game itself would be a commentary on what many people are saying is how rap is dying. Why? You make it so it's built around the culture of music dying for each genre, but focusing it on rap/hip-hop. You have it where a lot of artists from the past are slowly being deleted off from certain record labels that are trying to replace them with AI units of different people that are trying to snatch those sounds and get those sound bites to make something completely different and alien from these artists. You have it where these legends of old are losing their overall appeal, and the new cats don't know what the fuck to do. They need some kind of leadership. They need someone to produce some stuff that they can bring the real from. And at this point, you're probably like, where are you getting this idea from, my boy? Where are you getting this idea from? I'm kind of getting it from RZA when he was making the Liquid Swords album, I believe, about the whole structure, about how the culture is being demolished and where people don't have their simple ideologies coming into play. So the whole entire thing is your character is a producer. You build it off to where the fights influence whatever song that the artist that you're going to be recruiting has made for the game. This is where stuff gets interesting. The roster you could pretty much make as big as you want, as high as you want, so as long as you give royalties back to the people. Make sure their masters get their due diligence, and with people getting their masters back to them, their rights also get better sort of negotiation deals for. And Def Jam can fit the bill for it. They're good for it. They know what the fuck to do with all this fucking money. They just choose not to. And this is still like the whole big kit and caboodle about the roster, because I kept going back and forth not talking about it. Here's the whole thing. If we're gonna have it where it's 4 generations of games under one roof, make this roster the biggest roster you can think of. You have the past and you have the present colliding in for the future of hip-hop. That doesn't mean that you kind of sequester the past to the past. You give money over to those that have built Def Jam for all intents and purposes to become as great as it is. You get your Busta Rhymes. You get Biggie's estate involved. You get DMX's estate involved. You get all of the legends of these labels intertwined with what needs to be stated. And then you build from it with the new artist. Not just from Def Jam, but also from Sony. Because then you can bring in Anderson .Paak. You can bring in Easy Mill. You can bring in a lot of different people to accentuate those numbers. And therefore, you can also build off certain things that you couldn't do before. A lot of those different artists have their own associates that can bring something new to the game's energy. Still make it a whole fighting game, add some beat 'em up elements if you want to, but also intermingle the stuff that worked from all 3 games to accentuate how to build this independent game. But at the same time, here's how you double the revenue. You have it where the artists are getting paid back for every time the song's getting played, but then you're like, wait, we can't really have this on Twitch if we're trying to build up numbers because Twitch streamers help make other people sell our game. How do we do this? I'm glad you guys are getting the whole picture. Now, this is where certain independent people come into play, because the field of hip-hop and rap in general is expansive beyond just record labels. You have YouTubers that have been rapping circles around a lot of mainstream artists in a lot of different variables. Bring them into the game to then have their own songs interlaced for the non-big blockage for a streaming soundtrack. You then double said profits so that there's a bigger exposure for them. You write them a big enough check for a copy of a song. Could be an original song they make for the game. Could be one of their more popular stuff they don't mind just sending off to you guys. You then split the checks both ways and then watch as that money quadruples, because a lot of people wanted a brand new Def Jam game anyway, but now you have something that is bigger, more bombastic, and with a fatter roster than ever before. And then you're probably also just like, okay, you're spitting a lot of stuff about a story that sounds pretty good, a roster that sounds promising about bringing old, new, and probably some independent YouTubers to be in the game, like Crypt or 6 Seconds, Quadeca, Shofu. There's so many goddamn YouTube rappers that have just blown up. Like Joji, Dumbfounded, Wax and Herbal Tea. I know a lot of these guys have been at labels before, but goddamn, there's so many of you motherfuckers out there. And it sounds amazing on paper. I get that. But then you're also like, what about gameplay options? What do we do for gameplay options, dog? We can't just have it be We spitting all this. We have a producer character making some beats that we get from an original producer that's also run the game. We get the voice actors, blah, 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 blah. How do we sell this shit for the gameplay? I've been trying to get to that in small increments if y'all were listening. Y'all were listening. Alright? Listening. I don't know why I'm acting like this. Probably because I haven't slept in a few days. Here's the thing. Mix up the combat styles from how Vendetta had the wrestling elements for your heavyweight kind of characters. Not like in their body mass, but like their hit ratio. Heavyweight hitters acting as wrestlers, beautiful occasions for a ground slam like no one's business. Medium weight, you end up bringing in like the faster, more martial arts stuff from Fight for New York and Icon. All kinds of simple shit, right? And for the lightweights or like svelts, you could probably do some rushdown boxing techniques to make sure that when they're rushing into battle, you're understanding what the roster is kind of mirroring. At the same time, if you guys want to do that extra mile stuff to get some of those legacy characters brought back into your favorite throwdown for Def Jam, here's an idea. Make them assist for certain artists. Like certain people admire certain legends of the game. Have them be just support characters that you bring out of the roster. Maybe if the demand is big enough, and if you guys could really put the money forward, Def Jam, bring those characters in as free DLC or just like a thank you for a milestone of we sold this many units, we sold that many units. Don't put it behind a paywall because people wanted the game already. Don't shortchange them. Give it to them as a grace for what they've done for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, make that shit work for them. Because that's the most beautiful part about how you can make a bigger product. As we have seen time and time again for Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, putting forth that effort along with Sea of Stars, I believe is the game. Had like a small little brain tickle in that whole regard, but that in and of itself is enough of a Bible to put forth about how to make one of my less than number one picks make a real game for Def Jam of we had Vendetta, which kicked things off. We had Fight for New York, which was peak. We had Icon that had a lot of great ideas, but how do we bookend it as just a good, promising note about what we could do for hip-hop gaming? Is it a great idea? I mean, it's in my top 3 for a reason. You could polish it to do some good stuff. You know the right writing, know who to pick out for what, and how to build the roster effectively that won't run into your pockets if you don't know how to do the game correctly. Could they get the right people to make the game? It's not hard to find a good team that knows how to make a spectacular fighting game. And all the necessary pieces interwoven within, you can pretty much figure it out from there. But I'm going to stop on that whole point because we have 2 more things up the pitch this month, and I don't want you guys to pretty much be on the off foot of like, oh my god, are we ever just going to get this back to monthly? We are starting in March. That's why we're doing 3 in January. But for right now, we're doing 3 to make up for what we didn't do in December. What we're doing here in January, and doing February's early to do 3 months. So, yeah.
Boom, you feel it when I walk in the room. Boom, the shit